maiden name was Beverly Isaac. I had to think.
Right.
And my married name is, should I put his name in it?
Sure.
Mrs. Walter R. Turbeville.
Part of the state has a town name.
Yes, they do.
Right, it's a famous family upstate.
I never knew that was many Turbevilles till I got married.
Right.
Our Celeste is the oldest. She lives in Jacksonville, Florida. She teaches at a private school.
Right.
Vice principal. My oldest son is a professor at the Commonwealth University in Richmond.
Wow.
And I'm going too fast. And my youngest son is head of the docks in Wilmington, North Carolina. Thomas was born in Lebanon.
Okay.
It
looks like it was way back in 1896.
That's right.
That sound right? Now, Catherine, who was born in, it says 1904.
She was born in Buenos Aires.
Yes, I saw that on the record. How did that come about?
Oh, they were going to another country probably to look for work, a better life.
Yeah, her parents were, and she was born.
Now, she was born there, yeah, they left Lebanon, that's where they were from, and went there. Mabel,
and then
Daniel,
right?
Kathleen, myself,
Right.
and Francis. Joe stayed, Daniel stayed, yeah, Mabel stayed,
Right.
and Francis was in the convent. She left
Okay.
and then came back.
Where did she? You know where she went to the convent? Did she go to the same group that?
No, hers is Sisters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul,
Right.
and in Emmitsburg, Maryland.
That's right.
That's 70 miles from Washington.
Now, did you go to school up there?
Yes,
yourself?
I did. They had a school, small school, but
Right.
real nice.
Okay.
And they had a seminary there. Daddy wanted us to go to Catholic school because we didn't have that much instruction. We'd have the nuns come from Charleston on the weekends for us or during the summer. Anyway, he wanted, and that was closest.
That was the closest Catholic college.
And when we left here to go, it was in the 47, 48, we had a snowstorm, and we had to light candles to keep the ice from forming on the windows.
That's amazing.
That
What a
is, social studies is what I studied, 4 years. And 1 year I went up at the second semester when I studied. That was another thing that was against me. I didn't start when they all did, but I had to go 1 year, the Catholic University in Washington. One semester. I was a country girl going to town, but I did have an uncle there, which I stayed with.
Oh, that's good. Who was
Yeah.
the uncle? And Isaac?
John.
Isaac.
John, he's the youngest. Kathleen was.
Right.
Yeah, she became mayor there. I don't know how long she was. Very interested.
Yeah.
She was a fiery person, tell you. She stood up, but she... My father went into the grocery business, and he later on went into the liquor business, 2 stores, and also he, at a restaurant, sandwich shop he had right there on Front Street, Fraser, where you turn, instead of going straight over the light, it's a little place. Yeah, he was a businessman. Every summer, now I don't know how many years this happened, but they would go to Lake City, Lake City, when the tobacco season, when the auctioneers were there, and opened an all-night restaurant. And the food was strictly dinner meals, not knickknacks or anything like that, because those fellows would be up all night with the tobacco.
Right.
And I went one time, and brother, I was an experience to have them. It really was. And then when it was over, they come back. They had a store here, a grocery store at the time. And I'm trying to wonder who they kept. We kept us, but they made arrangements. I mean, we had all of us. You were born, there were 6 of us.
Sure.
Yeah. Isaac, Elias Isaac, is Uncle Isaac. His wife died over here, I think it was, and he had 5 or 6 children.
Right.
And he never remarried. He was in his 30s now. He never remarried. I was living on, they call it Butt Street.
Right.
It's where old Howard School used to be.
Okay.
And that's where my father started out in a grocery store.
Okay.
He ended up buying that whole block.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know, but I know how, because he worked himself to death.
Sure.
To feed his children and let us have a nice life. Yeah, they did. My father came in at Ellis Island.
Right.
My mother and Abraham Isaac, her father, Philadelphia.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had not heard that before, and I read it in the papers they had up there. It was right fun, I tell you, because we all really felt close, like family, because we felt, in a way, we're little outsiders.
Right.
But we worked, and we proved ourselves what type people we really were.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying now?
Absolutely.
It wasn't easy back then when foreigners were coming in.
Right.
They were looked down on.
Right.
But, and you know, with all those Lebanese that came in and had businesses, every one of them worked for themselves. They did not. And that, to me, that's amazing. They were Arabic.
Right.
And we as children, when we'd have company, we'd ask them, my parents, please do not speak Arabic. And they yes,
sure.
they did, and we appreciate that. And they weren't upset because we said that. They knew why. My family never did. They really didn't. I'm sure there was some, but they never did. I'm going to tell you this before I forget it. My father and mother loved this country so much, and every time they would have America, you know, God bless America, you'd look over them and their eyes filled with tears. And that makes me feel that way now. The social life, for me, we would, it's all in homes.
Right.
Like Easter time, Christmas time. It wasn't anything like going out in the city. Nothing. It was all one clannish, but it was pretty, until they got to know and be comfortable around other folks. Any Sunday,
Yeah.
you didn't know there were no phones back then.
Right.
You'd be looking around and there these cars come rolling up. And Mother would have enough. I don't know, and you'd have the kibbe and the swallow squash and all that stuff.
Right.
And I'm afraid some of that is going to go out now.
Yeah.
I really do. I cook kibbe.
Yeah.
I'm making some lemon right now, but I don't have anything to put on. I ate them all.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the kind of things I didn't go into it like Angel now. And now I don't do it because, you know, nobody here to eat it. Every Easter, after Mass, Mother and those be cooking for weeks.
Right.
They would have arroz, kibbeh, laban, and they would, every family visited every family. And if you didn't, you were in trouble.
Right.
It was very nice. It was. It went on until, of course, you walked in. They want to know if you want to drink,
Sure.
and you know they didn't say no. Yeah, I worked in an assurance office here. Then I went to International Paper Company. I went there, and after I had my children, and we were, not all of them, but we were, Walter had to be transferred to Wilmington. That's when he was working for another company. And when we came back, my mother had a stroke, and
Right.
we stayed here. We lived in the house with her so we could help her.
Right.
And then after she passed, I went to work to school.
Okay. At the school department?
No, in the school itself.
The school
Kindergarten, yeah,
Okay.
teacher. No, and especially now, they've always had trouble there.
Right.
And you know what my father would say about that? Everybody was wanting to go back and all. And he said, I don't know why everybody wants to leave this country when you can find everything in this country that they have other places.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
he was right. I've heard others say that. But I think it's one thing that's special. Years ago, not so much now, you could walk down to Georgetown Street, Front Street, and see just about everybody that was here, speak to them, sit and have a conversation. Now, it's not that way.
Right.
I find I speak to, some might say hello after us, and some just look at you like, you know,
Right.
that to me is very close knit, I think. Got a back door and I can point
Yeah.
around the corner, first house. We'd go to Greeleyville. That's a big place. Yeah, there was a family. There was a Joseph family
Right.
in Greeleyville. None.
None.
And I'm going to tell you something about that. Back then, you know, the parents wanted you to marry a Lebanese.
Sure.
And they'd try to match you up, but then you saw they couldn't get too far. And finally, after Mabel and Joe, well, Joe married a Lebanese. That's right, excuse me. That was a mistake. A Joseph. Anyway, then Mabel's husband asked Daddy for her hand. He thought about it, and of course he said yeah. And then after that, Daniel married her. And when Bubba, the Irishman, came to ask Daddy,
Yeah.
he said, what can you do when the love bug bites? I don't know that any, I did. I married, my husband was not Catholic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, he was
Okay.
Episcopalian.
Okay.
He would go to church with me.
Yeah.
Not all the
Was that a
time.
big issue for your family that he was not Catholic? Did they?
They didn't let it know. I knew, he knew. My father did not. He was 57, and I contributed to his work, working all the time. And Mother had a stroke when she was in her 50s and died, and she was 68.
Wow. Okay, so they both died relatively.
I think young, yes, I do. his store was like a visit where we'd go to sit in this big window while he's doing he had parched peanuts, and they'd go downtown, and Mother would stop, and then would come Dr. John's wife and sit in the window, and that's part of it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, in a way, my uncle married Maggie Cosmo, and it didn't work. It did for a while. They had, is it 3 boys or 4? That's the only connection. There was a little friction. I don't want to go into that. Most of them were family, except we, invited like Angel to come. Right. And I don't see those folks but once a year when they do come. Well, it's a horse and buggy. And on the horse and buggy, he's got 2 of Mabel's. That would be his grandchildren, his great-grands, right? Right. And this other young fella was a neighbor across the street. Okay. And of course, they wanted to ride when they saw that buggy. They came running after him.
So it's a horse-drawn buggy with 4 wheels that he would drive around this town until...
Oh, yeah.
Well, after there were lots of cars
and
town.
Being a small town, and the policeman didn't mind at all, Right. But now, I don't... And we had lights, he'd go through the red light.
It was his town.
He figured nobody would hit him